Hey guys, it's me, Savannah. I don't have any makeup on. I'm really tired and it's Tuesday morning. I go to work in I think about 2 hours and I haven't uploaded in 2.5 weeks. So one, that's a problem. Two, I'm upset, and I figured that before I go, I can try to make a video. Now, identity, right? Identity. You think of yourself as something, or you identify with something, or a country, or a language, or a culture, or whatever it may be, right? Your hobbies, etc. Those are all things that you identify with, that you relate to, that you say that is a part of you. So it's like, okay, this is a part of me, this is who I am, yada yada. Now when it comes to language learning, a lot of people, they have things like, oh well, when you learn a language your personality changes, or when you learn a language, you know, you're a different person like altogether. And it's like, I don't necessarily believe that. I feel like you have the same personality, but it's expressed differently because of the way the people talk in that language. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna talk the same as I do with my American friends, with my Japanese friends. Like, I might say the same things and I'm gonna be upset about the same things and happy about the same things, but like the way I joke around and like this, my, you know, my demeanor and like my voice, you know, that might be different because of the language I'm speaking, and the culture that's using that language has also an influence on how the language is spoken and everything else. So there's that idea of like personality and identity in language. When identity and language learning become a problem is usually when, let's say, there's like a clash, or someone is like holding like steadily tight to their identity. So for example, this kind of goes into like the reason why I stopped learning Spanish, because I felt like the people that I found to help me, or not to help me, but I found some people at school and I was like, hey, hola, like, yo quiero practicar mi español un poco contigo. And I just wanted to practice Spanish with them. No big deal, right? And I mean, that's what I did with my Japanese speaking friends. So I didn't really feel like it was an issue. I was approaching a group of Hispanic girls. I'm assuming that they're Mexican because, you know, they would talk about Mexico all the time. So we're just gonna assume that they're freaking Mexican. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, Spanish is my language, you know.
I'm from Mexico, but you're not. So. And
it's kind of like, there's like this disconnect, this cutoff, this like attitude of, you know, you'll never be one of us. And so for the language learner, you're kind of sitting there like, okay, so am I kind of blocked off? Is this off limits to me because of how I look, you know? Some people are just really offended when somebody else tries to speak their language. I don't understand it. Maybe they think someone's like treading on their culture, or like are trying to appropriate it, or they're not like appreciating it the right way. Maybe it's annoying to them. I don't know. But for the language learner, that can be really discouraging, because you're thinking, or especially if that's like your first encounter, you're thinking that the people from that culture is going to reject you, or you're never going to fit in with them, or you're never going to be able to make friends with them. And it kind of just becomes this very like condescending, negative thought cycle, and then you eventually end up giving up. And that's what happened with me not in Japanese, but with Spanish. Learning in and of itself isn't about becoming a part of the culture. It's more about like experiencing the culture. And so I've never sat down and was like, oh hey, I want to be Hispanic, or hey, I want to be Japanese. I'm not gonna try to do that. It's more of the experience of being a part of that culture. And that's the beautiful thing about languages. If the only reason I speak English is because the people in my environment were speaking English, it's not because I'm black. It's not even really because I live in America. Like, there's a high possibility of me learning English because I live in America, because granted, it's America. But if I was with the people next door and I was their daughter, I would have been learning Spanish. The language that you speak, it has something to do with the culture and stuff like that. But like, at the end of the day, it's more about whatever's needed in that environment, and your brain just adapts. Just like how if I went to some other country, I'll learn the language from that place. Like, to me, it's really fluid, but for some people, it's just really harsh lines and you just have to deal with it. if you get rejected or you feel rejected by a certain person in a culture, don't let that person kind of take away your want to be immersed and your want to experience something different. People are hateful. So 見てくれた本当にありがとうございました。Savannahでした。登録もお願いします。バイバイ。